So they should ask him, because you remember, sir, when he was in the customs, it's just unfortunate. When he immediately he retired, they caught some officers in custom who, can you? Welcome to this edition of Platform. My name is Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. In the last 10 years, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Jamb, a revenue-yielding examination body, remitted an average of less than 5 million naira annually to the Federation account. With the appointment of the current Jamb Registrar, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, in 2016, he disclosed that government gave him the challenge of reforming Jamb, reducing examination malpractices, and a directive to remit an average of 500 million naira annually to the Federation account. In less than a year, Jamb remitted 7.8 billion naira. How was Professor Oloyede able to attain this achievement, in spite of what he described in his words as high-level sabotage, barrage of media salvos, disinformation, confrontation, and corruption? This edition of Platform focuses on reforms in Jamb and the challenges of examination malpractices, with the Registrar Jamb, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, a professor of Islamic jurisprudence, a former Vice Chancellor, University of Ilorin, and Secretary General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. Professor Ishaq Oloyede, welcome to Platform.
Thank you very much.
As usual, on Platform we have panelists. This time around, I have the pleasure to introduce Rashida Mustafa Olagunju, NTA Education Desk.
Thank you for having me.
We also have Chuks Ukwatu, Education Correspondent with Lagos Television.
It's good to be here.
Thank you, gentlemen. Professor Oloyede, welcome once again. We will start from home, as they say. You are quoted speaking to the Shobo annual lecture in Abeokuta Club recently, to have said that the Ogun anthem was responsible for giving you direction as to how you were able to perform so far in Jamb. What is the Ogun anthem? And how does it now help a whole professor of Islamic jurisprudence to perform?
Thank you very much. You are starting on a very soft tone. I believe that as a person in humanity, you draw inspiration from so many things. What I was saying and I'm emphasizing is that there's an inspiration from the Ogun anthem. For those of us who speak Yoruba, it starts with Omo Ogun, Isheya. That is, you, the sons or your children, yes, or indigenes of Ogun. Isheya, start work. The work must start now. If you speak it in my language, it's something, it's a command. You draw inspiration from such a thing. That Isheya, anything you want to do, you don't just get there and be doing what those of us in Lagos will say smesme. So you go directly to the job and you get the job done. So that's exactly what I'm saying, that I've drawn a lot of inspiration from the Ogun anthem, which says that Isheya, start the work right now, because you must not be lazy about it. And laziness means that if you are not starting on time, you are already losing the game. That's exactly what I've said.
So in 2016, when you were appointed, describe for us in few words the level of rot you met in Jamb.
I think that isolating Jamb, in my own view, is not the issue. I believe that Jamb was just a sample of what you have everywhere, and all we require is that for everybody, every person, to make sure that wherever you are at your own corner, whatever is improper should be removed. At Jamb, we felt that there were so many things that people were doing wrongly, either for known or unknown reasons, and we felt that those things should be made correct. Let me tell you, Jamb had been fortunate with quality of people that had served Jamb. It had done tremendously well. But when you get to a place, of course, when given where we are coming from, you will find out that so many things were not properly done. And of course, if they were being done properly, I don't think I would have been invited from my corner in Ilorin to come and do. It means there was something. The owners of the place believed that there was something to be done. That's why I was invited. I believe that it's not just Jamb. So many things are wrong with so many things in our establishment, public and private life. And if you go to the hospital, you go to the university, you go to the primary school, you go everywhere, there is the decay. And what the responsibility of every one of us, wherever we find ourselves, is to make the difference wherever we are.
We say we're focusing on reforms of Jamb. So
Yes.
Tell us how you started and the journey so far.
Yes, I want to say, and I'm saying that let me first of all make it clear, because I've had so many people talking about, I've had people talk about revenue generation, that you are not a revenue generation body. What? So education is part of social services, and we do not, ordinarily, government is not expected to attract revenue from the social service sector. Rather, the government should continue to make input. But within the sector, there will be income that might come from one sector, one aspect of the education sector, to satisfy or to move that revenue to another sector that is not generating any revenue. It does not mean that because we are talking globally about the education sector, wherever there is income, you then waste it or you throw it away simply because you do not expect revenue. Once you do not extort people, once you do not increase the cost that people are paying, whatever is generated from such a place is meant for another sector. So when we talk about Jamb, you have various aspects of Jamb, and we are talking of reform. The first and primary one, which is important to me, is to have credible assessments of candidates.
But Prof, before we
Yes.
get to that, still talking about the revenue generation, some people were of the opinion that since you can remit such amount of money into federal government coffers, that means you are billing the parents or students much high, thereby calling for the downward review of Jamb fee.
That's a very, in my own view, I think it's a simplistic way of looking at the whole thing. Where the cost, the price that the students pay is the low. I'm not aware of any country that charges as low as we charge. Even within the country, there are many other bodies conducting examination, non-charges as low as Jamb was charging. And I believe that the price had been fixed more than 5 years before I came in as registrar. So we didn't increase the money. So if because we are returning it, you are now saying that, oh, since you can manage not to waste the money, then you must reduce the price. I don't think that is the right thing to do, because you must first of all stabilize. You must first of all be sure of the sustainability of the so-called SS. Because if you are not sure of that and you today reduce the cost, and tomorrow you now discover that you need, will you come back and say, no, I want to increase the money. What is important is this. I believe we need to understand. Some people even go beyond that, and they will say, oh, it means you are extorting people because you are not supposed to be revenue generating body. Then I'm alarmed. I'm alarmed because you believe, you prefer a situation that we collect all the money and we spend all the money. That's what you prefer. Because if we have not increased and we say this is the money, you see, you face, even those who are saying it, I prefer them. Those who are coming out to say, give us part of the money and so on. There are some subtle ways of attack that people would say, oh, maybe you had, some even felt that maybe you have political ambition. I don't know at what age, which political ambition will I have that will make me to be working myself out for what purpose? I think what is important is that we have not increased the price and the money is there, not because we are extorting anybody. I'm not against reduction, and indeed I am for it. I am for reduction because I believe that we can still manage with less.
What fees are we talking about? Is it the 5,000 now?
Yes, it's the 5,000 that students pay for form, the registration. Because of the largeness, because the large number of 1 point something, when you look, it's a lot of money. And if you manage this money properly, you can channel the money to other segments of the education sector. People ask me questions and say, when you return the money to the larger post with some other segment of the education sector suffering and so on, that's not my duty. I'm not giving the mandate to manage the whole education sector. I'm giving the mandate to manage Jamb. And in Jamb, if there is excess, if we have surplus, you return it to those who appointed you, or you tell they direct you as to what to be done. Will you prefer
a situation that exists in the customs, for example, whereby if they generate 500 million, for example, they have a percentage that is theirs?
Yes, I think that is good. That is good because you have workers of Jamb who are working. 99% of the workers, they work extraordinarily in order for us to get to where we are, in order for us to earn this. But they are taking the salary that ordinary civil servants who may not be working as much as they are, they take the ordinary civil servant. If, for instance, you say since 2016, we are not taking capital fund, we stopped taking capital fund from the federal government, we stopped taking overhead fund from the federal government, and we know that even the salary that is paid by the federal government is a fraction of what we return. So if you allow such a system to say, okay, take 50% of the surplus to make the staff, we are likely to generate more. We are likely, the facilities we have improved our facilities in the last 2 years to such a way that we can cater for some other needs of some other agencies. We have about 4 or 5 government agencies that we are conducting examination for this month alone. And we are using an insignificant fraction of the facilities we have. Imagine we conduct exam simultaneously for 1.7 million candidates. Then if you now say immigration, custom, how many, what's the number that they want to examine
So
that we cannot do.
When
Even from
when
that
you
side
conduct such
alone,
examinations
yes.
for customs, immigration, and what have you,
Yes,
they, I suppose, not free.
it's not free.
They pay.
They pay definitely.
Does the Jamb staff have something extra?
That's why I'm saying they do not have. They are expecting, yes.
Because
When
I
you
was even
return, when you get such resources, and I'm telling you, if we give them enough incentive, they can generate even from third-party resources, given the infrastructure that we have put in place within the last 2 years. We have the facilities that we can conduct. For instance, we are conducting the examination for the West African College of Medicine, for the whole West African region, sub-region. You just sit down in Abuja here, we conduct the exam across West Africa. There are other regional, of course, we conduct the examination for them, and it's even safer, more secured, and of course, they have their instant result. We have these facilities that if they are given enough, if the staff are motivated enough, you will see that the money that people are talking about for 5,000 can become 1,000, because they will even, from what they generate elsewhere, they will be able to subsidize even the one we are talking about. It's because we are not working towards high efficiency that we are even concentrating on the little that is coming. It's just like the Nigerian nation.
Focus on the part.
Yes.
You know, we are talking about incentives
Yes.
for the Jamb officials and
Yes.
all that. Then why not we look at, still on this reduction in the prices of Jamb form, why don't we also look at so many Nigerians that actually want to be part of this system but can't afford that?
Yes, it's not my fault that they can't afford it. In any establishment, we run a system that we are running, whether we like it or not, a capitalist system that appears to be the survival of the fittest. And for me, I should not be blamed for that, and I don't accept any blame for that. If people cannot afford it, let the society look for how they can afford it. But if our services are not overpriced, they will get the point. If somebody can say, oh, Jamb is overpriced because even in UK, they pay so, and it's, look at what we used to charge. We used to charge $120 for our foreign candidates for application. When we came in, we reduced it to $20, simply because we know the rate across the world. £24, £50, $50, and so on. So we reduce. So 5,000 that we are charging, how much is that to what is charged in Ghana, or charged in Cote d'Ivoire, or charged in London, or elsewhere? So in terms of pricing, we are not overpricing, but in terms of efficiency that we have brought into it, so we spend less to get more. And when we say we spend less, we are using human beings to work on this thing, and they deserve better pay. That's the point I'm making.
So how do we get them to get this better pay? You are the registrar.
Yes.
Will it entail some legislation, amendment of the Jamb Act, if there is any?
Instead of everything just going back to the government. The people that are working for the money, let them to enjoy it.
Look, they are not even asking for extraordinary things. In my own view, they are just saying, treat us as you treat other agencies within the education sector. Let us earn what Ted Fund earn. Let us earn what UBEC earn. We can provide it from our resources, and we will work harder to be able to do so. So they are not asking for something.
Have you approached the Salaries and Wages Commission for that?
I think that's the point we are moving into now. I believe that no reasonable person would deny such hardworking people this fruit of their sweat.
Since we're still on this issue of welfare, somewhere I read somewhere where you were quoted to have said that you use 400 million naira to improve the welfare of staff. And I said, if I have the opportunity, and now you're here, what services or what sort of welfare of staff is being improved or improved with 400
so
million?
So what we are talking about is that when you have the resources, you pay the staff what they are due, they are dues. For instance, you sent a staff. I sent a director to Oshogbo one day, and I felt very bad. You sent a director to Oshogbo, a whole director to Oshogbo. He got to Oshogbo. He had to hire a vehicle. He got to Ilorin. He had to hire a vehicle from Ilorin to Oshogbo to do official work and to come back to Oshogbo. And then that person now submits, say, 60,000 naira car hire. And somebody says, I'm the auditor. I say no, by civil service rule, it's 3 per kilometer, and therefore your entitlement is 13,000. How do you go about that?
A director.
A director. And how do you encourage such a person? A system that he knows he's working for, and he's working very hard. Do you get the point? It's not just the staff. They will tell you, you are the registrar. Good. By law, they say I'm entitled to 4.9 or so million as housing allowance for 4 years. Abi? That's what the law. I've been here for 2 years now. I've not been able to secure the 4-point-something million. Why? Those who are to pay have not paid me. So the point I'm making.
But those who are to pay are under you.
They are not under me. Would you think I will put my hand into the Jamb pots and take that money? No, it's not that. It's not.
It's not the finance department of Jamb.
No, it's not. It's not
so
like that.
Who are supposed to pay?
No, I'm not complaining.
No.
The point I'm making is that we have a lot of contradiction in this system.
There's a process.
You have a contradiction where you entrust a lot of money to the custody of a person, and even if the person is conscious of God, because I don't believe that police, EFCC or anything, there is a better EFCC, there is a better police, and that is God. Because even if you are in your room, he will catch you. And therefore, it's better to be afraid of him. If you are afraid of God, all other things will be simple. Even if he's conscious of God and he does not want, you make him feel bad. I've just given you one example. That legitimate earning of the person, if you do not pay him, you are encouraging. You see, if you now have to step down and go and be begging every day that pay this thing, pay that thing, and you now find some people who would go, and you are living in Abuja. But in Abuja here, a reasonable house, you know and I know that to get a place in Abuja, in Ilorin, you are comfortable. If you can't spend 1 million, even if you want to live in a palace, you can't spend 1 million in a year. But in Abuja here, in fact, no matter how you try, you pay 2 million. No matter how you try. So if you now pay 2 million, you want to pay the man 4 million. 2 years gone into the whole thing, we are still pushing file up and down. So that's just to illustrate the fact that as we struggle for improvement, for people to be responsible and so on, their welfare should also be catered for. And that's why when you are talking about the 400 million case, what we are saying is that we believe that the dues of the people, what they are due for, should be attended to. So what are the things? How much are you owing the staff that you send somebody to go to Samfara, to go and conduct examination, and you give this man 12,000 per night. The man gets there, he wants to conduct the examination. The owner of the CBT center, say, come and stay here free. And he knows this man, you are paying him just 12,000 per night. The hotel is collecting 9,000 from him, and he will buy food and buy by the end of the day. So the man offers him free accommodation. What will he do? So part of the welfare is for you to find a way of making within the rules to make sure that you provide some type of comfort for that man, that he will not be tempted.
And entirely.
Prof, this has been happening over the years.
Yes.
Since you came in as the board, done something about this. Talking about improve welfare.
We try to do it within the rules, because you know, no matter how good intention cannot run a government. They have rules and regulations. No matter how good intended you are, once you cross the law, you are treated as a violator. So for that reason, within the rules, you try to see what you can do about welfare. Why you are struggling to say that, okay, these people are working because they are working this hard. Let us see what we can do to move us from the mainstream of the civil service and give us the opportunity that is being given to others, like State Fund, like UBEC, like PTDF, like.
So what would you say, Prof, if because I gather reliably that the Jamb staff do not earn these meager allowances during your predecessor's tenure. So what rule was he using?
As far as I'm concerned, everything we do in Jamb, that's part of our reform, must be done on the table. So see, that's what takes us to even the institutions. The institutions, many of them, they were admitting people that they were not disclosing. But part of our reform now through CAPS is forcing everybody. That's why every day, every week, you see people asking for one waiver or the other. Because a system has been put in place that will not allow you to do some sharp practices under the table. You say, yes, this is my college. Everybody says, to go to the university, you have 5 credits, maths and English for any subject. But the vice chancellor is looking at you, knows it's not true. You are just making that pronouncement. If somebody wants to study Yoruba, he wants to study history, he wants to study linguistics, you say, don't worry, you don't have mathematics, don't worry, I will admit you. And while you are telling the whole world that you are doing mathematics, you must have 5 credits in English and mathematics. Somebody wants to study Arabic, even in London, no mathematics is required, but our own regulations say must have English and mathematics. But the man at the end of affairs knows that it's not required. So if we just drop that, what we are saying, what we are doing now in Jamb is, look, any rule we make must be enforced. We will not make a law or a rule that is not enforceable. And therefore, the issue of people earning, if something is not legitimate, staff of Jamb will not earn it. That's why we are crying. If we are cutting corners, we could take 1 billion and find one way or the other of distributing the 1 billion. But that would be a crime. So what we are saying is, let's openly say that our salary is poor. Let us take a chunk of this money, and we have shown you that we can do it, and we do it openly, rather than going. It's unfortunate that if some people, I have had the complaint that, yes, I know that people are suffering because illegitimate money is not coming and legitimate money is not sufficient. I also suffer from it. That's why I've given the example that I have given to you.
Of your
that even what I'm entitled to, that government says you are entitled to, I'm still 2 years down the line, still struggling.
But I know that at times we have a situation where Jamb staff sleep over at the office to do one thing or the other, just to meet up so that they won't be. Do they have like overnight allowance?
They give them overtime, but what's overtime? When you calculate the overtime with all the restriction that it must not be more than 48 hours, it must not be more than this, it comes to pittance. I was signing one for a group of people, and they say at the end of the month it came to 9,000 something. If somebody has access to 300,000 naira, and you prevent him from taking the 300 million, and all you are now talking is about 9,000 at the end of the month. The man is just looking at you and he's saying, what a mess.
In fact,
so
I understand the situation is so bad.
Yes.
Some of your staff have to take loan to pay their children's school fees.
That is
So it looks
situation.
like you have to make haste.
Of course,
to
we
make those
must
reforms.
push the system. I do not subscribe to doing things under the table, but I will make enough noise to say that let us do what is realistic. Look at some institutions. You say for you to go to College of Education, you must have 5 credits, Maths and English for NCE. People, students that when they come out, they are going to teach at the primary school. You get the point. Unlike BA that you go to the higher institution or to secondary school, they are being produced for primary school. You said they should. I can bet it with you. If you apply that rule in Nigeria today, 80% of the classrooms will be empty. You won't get, but they have a way of doing it. What we have done is, look, instead of admitting and we have wrong data, you will say in all our colleges of education, only 5,000 are there, and there are 50,000, 500,000 there, but they are not disclosed because of the rules. We simply tell them, gentlemen, let's come to the table. What is practicable? Let us see what is practicable. Give us accurate data. Let your academic board determine the qualification for your entry. Some people say, oh, they are lowering standard. They were doing this. Your children, the children of the rich, that they will score 100 in Jamb, not 120. But their parents will have stolen enough money, send them to Ghana, send them to Britain. They will come back within 3 years and become superior to those people who score 200. And you now say we are lowering standard. What, your child that goes to London without UTME, without Jamb, Jamb is not requested in London or in Ghana where he has gone. So the child of the poor man is deprived, not because he cannot do better than that of the rich, but because the father is incapable financially. So what we are saying is that there are issues. If you go to Ghana, if you go to London, if you go to America, nobody is going to ask you about your Jamb. They ask about your 5.0 level. So you are covered, whether you will do well in UTME or not. That is overlooked. And we are now saying that the purpose of the UTME, it is insufficiency that led us to further screening. 5.0 level is required to admit people to the university. But because those that are coming, you do not have enough space for them, you need to further screen them, because ab initio, all those who have 5 credits are qualified to be admitted. So further screening is because there is no enough space. And when you even talk about enough space, we are also getting it wrong. Many people will say out of 1.7 million, you admit 500. What's the proportion? I tell them that is also not true. Out of these 1.7 million student candidates that take our exam, a substantial number of them are not ready for Jamb. They are SS1, SS2. They are just taking the form for
to see how they can perform.
They do not have the 80% of those who sit for the exam do not have the 5.0 level. They are waiting results. When their results come out, and that's why this year we introduced the uploading of results. Out of the 1.7, maybe about 1 million will have O levels. And that's O level. What I mean by O level is that they have 5.0 level, I'm not talking of including English and mathematics. When you now say those who have English, they come to about 900,000. Those who have English and mathematics together, they come to about 780. You can see that we are having just 780 million thousand with us for admission. And out of this 780, we end up taking 500, which means it's not sufficient. That's why people are struggling. But it's not as bad as we have presented the case that out of 1.7 million, you are admitting 500. Now, even out of these 500, 700, you have rigid people. You have those of you who have read chemistry, biology, they have read something, they want to read medicine. Is medicine or nothing?
Or nothing.
You have another 5% that they have studied anything. They want to read law. Is law or nothing? So you can't offer them any other course. You are not taking all this into consideration. And when you just say 1.7, 10% of these people are first degree holders. They are already having first degree. We do not have primary responsibility to them. Because the nation had given them first degree. So they want to go for the next one. And all these people, they are part of what you pack together. And that's why part of the reform we are doing is to be able to dissect these segments and be able to say, where is our problem? We have problem, but the problem is not as magnificent, as big as we make them to appear.
So what other measures are you adopting for the credible assessment of candidates?
Yes.
Secondly, Prof.
Yes.
No, let the Prof take that.
Yes, for credible assessment of candidates, you will see that we have improved the test rooms, the CBT centers. We have put CCTV camera. Many people were arrested. Many people were caught even after the examination. Recently, we were just relaxing and we saw somebody complained that something was stolen during the exam. We had to review a particular CBT center. In the process, we discovered that somebody who had released the result cheated during the examination. So we simply invited the man to our office, look at yourself, and we withdrew the result.
Wow.
So we are improving the facilities, even the system that they were using. In the past, people just buy computer and they will be using them in the CBT center. We have the system now that from Abuja we can monitor what goes on each of these systems. And people do what they call batching and so on. All those things we are. And our examination, I want to assure you, people are talking of, why are they doing post-UTME? They are doing post-UTME because of empirical evidence that people are coming up with scores that they cannot defend in Jamb. So if we improve the quality of the UTME, which is what we are doing now, nobody is going to tell any university not to conduct UTME because it will be wasteful for them to do, because they will see that even when they re-examine the candidate, there will be no significant difference between what Jamb had credited the candidate with and what their post-UTME result shows. So it's a developmental thing. Education is dynamic. You don't stay one thing. What is right today may be wrong tomorrow, depending on the circumstance.
Okay, Prof, you mentioned earlier the issue of CAPS.
Yes.
What is this policy all about? How has it helped to shaping the admission process?
You see, CAPS, that is Central Admission Processing System. What CAPS does is to improve the transparency. Contrary to what people are saying that is gagging the institution, no. It's not asking any institution not to do what the Senate wants to do. You must tell us, what are your parameters for admission? Okay. Federal government says merit 45, catchment 40, the other one, the parameter, they are for federal institutions. States will determine their own parameter. Lagos State will say 70% Lagos indigenes.
Yes.
20%, you get the proprietor of each of these institutions will determine the parameter. So what CAPS does is that you must keep within the parameter. CAPS will not allow you to get somebody, you say merit. They all, if you say, take University of Ilorin, you want to admit 11 or 10,000, 40%, is it 40 or 45%, or 45% of these people must be on merit. You draw the line, course by course, so not globally, because some people think it's globally. You go to medicine, you say 500 people apply for medicine. 45% of those people, you count them and you draw the line, they may come from the same local government. It does not matter.
Okay.
It's merit.
Okay.
That is merit. CAPS will not allow you to drop somebody who is entitled to merit for whatever reason. Okay. That is for federal institution. Yes. So you can't go like some people are protesting. You come from Oyo, you apply to LASU, and you are talking of merit. Which merit? They will pick their merit from Lagos indigenous first. Before they talk about national spread. National spread. We are talking of federal institution. Even in federal institutions, everybody has its own area too. I come from Ogun State. I cannot apply to University of Ilorin and say, yes, I applied to University of Ilorin, I scored 70%, and I want to read medicine. And you say, no, I must read it because I scored 70. No, because after merit, which may be 92%, they may stop at 92% for merit. I lose my rights in the University of Ilorin because I'm from Ogun. Ilorin has a catchment state like Kogi, Niger, Kwara, Benue, Plateau. Those are the catchment states of University of Ilorin. So those people are the next batch of 35%. They will pick. Among them, they will pick somebody with 55%, 60%. If they are cut off for medicine, of course, for Ilorin, cut off will be 70 for no matter where you come from. But what I'm saying is that it's possible that they will go lower than my score. Yeah. But I'm out of the consideration because I have my own right to, if I go to Obafemi Awolowo University, which is Ogun State is part of the catchment, and somebody from Kwara will not be able to enjoy that facility.
So what
we need to
you have to do a lot of counseling for us.
Of course, they need a lot of counseling, and that's why we make this available to them now online. We tell them that if you want to go to a university outside your catchment state, you must be sure of yourself that you will score high enough to be on the merit list. And when you are on the merit list, even if you come from UK, merit list you will be there. Nobody can deprive you. What CAPS does is to make sure that nobody goes outside the rule to do something. If you have finished your admission and you now have I give a case of a vice chancellor. They want my people in CAPS raised alarm that this vice chancellor wants to pick somebody when there are 32 people between who are more qualified. And there is alarm. So when you put it, it will say no, you can't take it because there are other people. And I called the vice chancellor, why are you doing this? So, okay, look at it. This is nothing. Everybody in the class, a class of 100, have admitted 75. Number 1 to 75, they are women. I now want some 5-10 men in the class. So all these people I'm jumping are women. Okay. Do you get the point? Because I need to have some men in that class. Otherwise it will be. So for us, you can't fault such argument. You just say, oh, thank you. This is the reason. Put it in writing. And when you put it in writing on CAPS, it's not erasable. Okay. You can't delete it. If you go there 10 years to come, it will be there. And when you put it, it comes to us and I say, go ahead. So there can be genuine reasons. And when there are genuine reasons, you have to, or a university that says, look, why are you picking this candidate? And says, this candidate, yes, we want to admit 30 to this class. 29 of them are Nigerians. And this is somebody from Gambia, and he scored lower, but it's from the Gambia. I want to jump this Nigeria in the overall interest. Nigeria is a big brother to all other ones. But you will put it in writing, on CAPS, that look, oh, this is why I'm doing it. And anybody can come. Auditors will come to audit the process of admission, and we'll see it there, and we'll be able to assess whether you are. I tell people, when you put that there, nobody will punish you. They can come and say, please don't do that again, because it is not acceptable. But it's not, it's better than doing things under the table. For me, I'm very comfortable. Anywhere I go, I have my laptop. I open my laptop anywhere. I check what is going on in the universities. I know I can spot check and see what is going on.
So,
and
so Prof, I would say that CAPS have really helped, like check all forms of
course, it has
corruption
helped
in
the people who
sector.
do not know people.
Okay.
You get the point. What many people, you see complaints about my child has, those who are complaining now are the rich people. You know, in the past, they will have spoken to high people and they will get their children admitted even before those who are qualified. So the problem we have now are the so-called big people who will be complaining because until it comes to their turn, they cannot have the turn.
And these are people who are always
and people will tell you, I've given you this name. It doesn't come out. It will not come out until...
Because even the person that you are expecting to do it doesn't have the power.
Because there is an alarm.
Let's very quickly look at Jamb and 2019 elections. I know that in some quarters they said, you have already said it may not affect it. But you are on this platform. Tell us.
INEC has done a wonderful thing by telling us in advance the dates of the election. So that is, we were specifically written by INEC chairman, for which we are very grateful, that look, this is our plan for 2019. So we have arranged everything in such a way that there will be no activity or major activities or activity of ours. Will be one establishment came last week and said we want to conduct this exam in February. Say no. We have the facility to conduct it. That will be done in election. So we will not accept such thing. We wouldn't have had that privilege. For us, because of the privilege of information that we have rearranged all our activities in such a way that we are not affected by any. All the activities will be done, of course, by the time university for public universities, the admission will be closing on the 16th of October. And I'm seizing this opportunity to appeal to those who have not done. It's not going to be business as usual. Even if you have not finished your session, conduct your admission, so let the people be assured that they have somewhere they are going, bank it, and continue with your incomplete session. And when you now finish that session, you can start anytime. But we don't want candidates to be delayed, and that's why we are telling institutions, particularly public, big federal universities, that by 16th of October, if you have not conducted your examination, your admission, you just discover that the candidate will disappear from your screen. We will move all of them from the screen. When you open your screen, there will be no candidate for you to admit. Of course, you cannot admit any candidate. And some people even came with this idea that Jamb is charging them money for NYC. It is not true. What Jamb is doing is that if you have been illegally admitted 4 or 5 years ago, you score 80, you score 70, but you were admitted. Many of them like that they say they are doing regularization. You did not meet the qualification at that time, but now you have graduated. What we are doing is that we are being sympathetic by saying we can't throw such a person away now, because without admission letter, I cannot go on NYC. We are now saying that, okay, register, go to the CBT center, let's have all your particulars, confess your sins, and when you confess your sins that, oh, I score 80, let your vice chancellor sign. You must sign. We call it certificate of indemnity, that I admit that we admitted this person despite the fact that he was not qualified, but he met the 5.0 level, but he didn't meet what we declare at that time as national minimum. And once that is done, you fill the form online. We give you for those who have graduated. But since I resumed, and I've been shouting in 2016, if you are admitted after that time, even if you graduate, you are graduating for nothing. But because Prof, you are told to come through the normal door, not to come under the table.
Okay, we are in the admission era now.
Yes.
How seamless is the ongoing admission?
Oh, completely seamless. It has problem, as seamless as it is. You know that on both sides, my staff will travel. By now, during admission, I will be either in Kano, conducting examination, spending millions of naira on the conduct of the examination. People travel, you pay them night allowance, and so on and so forth. People also travel. If you go to Buhari now, there people are complaining that they are not selling because people are no longer, you see people sleeping or by our gate and so nothing like that, because admission is going on in your room in the respect, but it has problem. The problem is that on both sides people are complaining because as poor as you said the money was, people still get some things and they were happy. And that's why we are telling institutions, you know what you used to spend on admission. You will make your people, maybe 5 people, 4 people, persons traveling 4, 5, 10 times to Abuja and 3 times, at time 1 week. Now that they are no longer traveling, give them some incentive at home in such a way that, 1 night allowance, 2 night allowance instead of 20, so that the thing can work. Because when the thing is working and you are about completing the admission, somebody who has been making some money for school fees from traveling during the period, and you now say this thing is no longer working. Say it's working, or guys say
Professor,
it's not working.
Ishaq, if I leave you, we will continue. But it's very interesting, educating, and enlightening talking to Professor Ishaq Oloyede, the Registrar, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. It's our pleasure to have you, and we thank you so much for coming, sir.
The pleasure is mine. I thank you, but I think we are just 30 minutes into the program.
We have done 50 minutes. And of course, I thank our education desk correspondent, Rashida Mustafa Olagunju.
Thank you for
your... You have shown that you are really in that sector. Chuks Ukwatu is also with the education correspondent, Lagos Television, but based in Abuja. That's why he's here in our studio. In the past 50 minutes, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Jamb, was our focus. And the Jamb Registrar, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, explained the ongoing reforms at Jamb, its successes and challenges, as it strives to reduce examination malpractices and make tertiary education a reality for qualified Nigerians. That's Platform. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Bye for now.